I'm Kylie, you're watching Tastoria. This is once again Ben and Kate.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm from Tastoria.
Are you just? And Kate, where are you from?
From Green and Blue.
Brilliant. And where's this little chap from?
Now, this is also from the Languedoc, so there's a bit of a theme here, but, you know, it's probably, I don't think we've actually mentioned yet the fact that because the Languedoc also tends to be a lovely, warm, dry climate, it's much easier to make organic wine. You at least don't usually have the problems with funguses and mildews and rots that you have in cooler, damper climates, although this year has been a bit of a strange one.
Yeah.
Now, this wine is, I think, actually probably our best value for money wine that we sell.
What are we talking about cost-wise
well,
then?
this is £7.50.
Wow.
I tell you what, with a statement like that, I think I've got to get it down the old Little Red Road.
Now, it's a Merlot, which is instantly recognisable to most people. But I think for most people, if you said to them, well, what does Merlot taste like? They would say, well, it's incredibly soft. And
That's what I'm thinking,
ripe
smooth,
and glossy.
red, but it's got quite a full body.
Exactly.
Could hold its own against a steak.
Yeah, in a fight, in a wrestling match.
Now, Merlot actually is a grape variety that can be very rustic and earthy, or fairly rustic and earthy. It's not actually as gloopy as a lot of people think. The fact of the matter is they've just drunk very commercial versions which are made to be as gloopy as possible. But when you grow it really properly, there is a fantastic rusticity that comes out in it. This is grown organically, needless to say. But the other secret of this wine is, I'll show you and then I'll turn it around, the fact that it's vin non filtré.
It's not filtered.
It's
I
not
don't
filtered.
speak French, but that's what I'm picking up from
You did exactly right. It's not filtered.
It's going to be useful when you go to Paris shopping. Non filtré, s'il vous plaît.
Which means that they've left all the chunks in, basically, which is incredibly rare at wine at this price level. You know, generally...
Why would they do that?
It is fined,
Fine.
but not filtered.
The difference between fining and filtering is that filtering is when you pass the wine through a membrane of a sort to remove stuff, whereas fining is when you add a... what's the word for it? Something that doesn't actually dissolve in the wine.
It's a processing agent, so it goes
so
through
that would
the
dissolve
wine.
all the chunks. So those
It's
just
a
attracts-
negative, positive ion thing.
So what happens is all the wine is negative ions and colloids, which are little things you can't see, even with binoculars. And then you put in things like, weirdly, milk, because it has casein in it, which attracts these little things. No, not necessarily.
Oh, not this one because it's not fine.
We're going to have a lawsuit on our hands in a minute. But it then attracts the wine. It all then comes together like a big party, and then that sinks to the bottom.
And that gets taken out.
Yeah, and then you can pour that wine either decanted away, or you can put it through a filter, and it will just take out all that mass at the bottom. But you can also use fish swimming bladder, which is isinglass, very good. Bentonite, which is clay. Gelatine, which is you get from egg whites and cow's hooves. And you can use PVPP, which is actually a plastic.
That's all good and well, but why would we want chunks in our wine?
Can I just say that I've been doing my homework?
That's very good, Ben. Kate, why would we want chunks in our wine?
Well, I was sort of speaking slightly metaphorically, Kylie, but I suppose what I was saying is sometimes you don't want gloop. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very commercial wines are often made to be really glossy to a sickly degree. You know, this has got grip and there's an earthiness to it, but personally I think that makes it 100 times nicer than something that tastes like Ribena and is just baby food, if a wine could be baby food.
It's a little bit more sophisticated.
It's not. Don't give wine to your baby. It is more sophisticated. There's more to it. And at only £7.50 a bottle, it really is quite extraordinary good value.
For organic wine as well, once again.
So we're very aware of the litigation laws, though. It's good. I like what we're doing. It's funny that it has the tannin and the grip. It's very good. I think it's, to me, it has that sort of not perfectly flawed comment that the guy makes, Chateau Muzard, Gaston Hockar was saying, but it's got that rustic charm. I mean, it's sort of beautifully flawed. I mean, even though it's not a flawed wine.
No, but it's not
raw.
Smooth. It's not. It's got a sort of. It's a bit of a rough edge, but in the best possible way. You know, that's what it's supposed to have.
When you speak about tannins, and you can pick up the when you speak about tannins, and you can pick up the tannins from having a big swish around in your mouth. how? I mean,
that sort of dry feeling that you get on your tongue.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
tannin.
Oh, okay,
Do you see what I mean?
okay,
And
sure. And the
there are
acidity's on the side of my
that's
mouth.
Okay, can you tell Kylie it's a bit like when you have that cup of tea, it's really strong, and that's tannin.
What is
That's
it,
tannin.
Kate?
It's a bit like when you have a cup of tea and you leave the tea bag in for ages and it gets all stewy.
Oh, yeah, I
know, when
don't like it in tea, but I do like it in wine.
I like it in wine as well.
Is it something that's debatable? Like, would some people say tannins are good or tannins are bad, or is it just dependent on what grape we're drinking?
It's dependent on the grape and it's dependent on how the wine is made. It's a combination of the two. There are certain things you can do during winemaking to minimise the tannins. And that's what a lot of makers of commercial Merlot do. As far as whether you like it or not, that's personal taste. Some people really don't like tannin.
For example, if you didn't want too much tannin extraction, you could use pigeage. You could perhaps tell Kylie.
What's that? Oh, sorry, pigeage?
Well, there are various ways of extracting tannins while you're making red wine, if you do want tannin. And one of the ways is that if you have a fermentation tank that's full of juice and skins, what happens during fermentation, because of the carbon dioxide being produced, is that eventually the skins get pushed up to the top. So you have a cap and you have the juice underneath. There are various ways of keeping the juice mixed with the cap, so you don't get a layer of wine that's incredibly deeply coloured and incredibly tannic just underneath the cap and then rosé in the rest of the tank. And one of the gentler things you can do is push the cap down, either manually or these days they do it with machine often, as opposed to do a process whereby they pump the juice out of the bottom of the tank and back over the top. And sometimes they empty the entire tank and spray it over the top, which is seen as really quite a robust thing to do to your wine. If you do that, you're going to get heftier tannins.